I've been pretty transparent on this channel about my thoughts on the state of newer media releasing. I love it. And man, oh man, I'm elated by some of the visionaries that are coming from the film industry right now. There are so many newer directors that I look to as auteurs. Some of these directors' styles are so drenched within their films. It's so cool to watch something and just know who's behind it all. I feel like that Leonardo DiCaprio gif in Once Upon a Time. Truthfully, that's my favorite thing about art. The person behind this hidden veil. They are the context. They are the voice and vision of what we are experiencing when watching or listening to something. And I genuinely believe that we are in such a great time period for experiencing film. For experiencing art, as a matter of fact. There are so many social issues that are going on that these filmmakers and artists are discussing in their works, which I believe is very important. But the one thing I appreciate a lot nowadays in the film industry is that anyone can pick up a camera. Anyone can tell a story through their own upbringing or through their own morals. And that makes these films personal, which I adore. That leads me into who I am talking about today. I am talking about Ari Aster in this episode of Closer Closer.
Cut it. Beautiful.
Funnily enough, the first time I found out about Ari Aster was a long time ago, and I didn't even realize that until a year ago.
Action!
I found out about him when I was just a little kid in like 7th grade, and there was a really weird short film that was circulating. Everybody was talking about it mainly due to its shock factor and its crazy plot. And that video was the short film Ari made many years ago, The Strange Thing About the Johnsons. It came out in 2011, so I genuinely don't know why people were talking about it since it was already a couple years old. But yeah, that's my funny story about how I found out about him. But the first time I saw a feature film of his was more than 2 years ago now. I watched his film Hereditary, which I believe is a masterclass in storytelling and how to build tension. The story does not give itself away at all. It slowly unravels, and by the time the credits roll, you are so in shock of what you just witnessed that every plot point in the film just hits you like whiplash. This is what Ari does. There is a sequence in every one of his films that just dazes me. It's unlike anything I've witnessed, especially for the more recent films that are coming out. I truly believe that Ari Aster is a hypnotist, and I think it's because of his really cool writing style. I've seen all of Ari's feature films. I'll try to talk about each of them in depth in a bit, but I want to talk about his storytelling because it is a truly magnificent talent that he has. Many directors have distinguishable visual styles. You can just tell a film is theirs due to how it looks. How does the camera move? What is the distance to their shots? Does the film have an absurd amount of violence? Shout out Tarantino.
Fun, Chan!
My point is, you can tell when a great director directs a film. And I think the same goes for Ari Aster. Something really cool to me is that Ari writes all of his films. I find that cool because his projects are so tailored to him, and I don't think it would be that way, especially at his film's current intensity, if he didn't write them. I mentioned that you can pick up on a director's visual style, but you can really pick up on his storytelling style, and I don't think that's a bad thing. His stories feel naked and exposed, like to an almost embarrassing degree, and that's because they feel so truthful. His films aren't hiding behind any mask or filter. They are what they are. He isn't holding back any punches. I watched the podcast with Ari Aster and Bill Hader for A24. It was really insightful on both of their creative processes, but I found a statement that Bill Hader made about Ari's recent film, Eddington, very interesting.
And I think that the thing that the word that I related to is Ali said that was very refreshing that somebody came out and made a movie that just kind of just stated the problem. You know, it's that, like, sorry to be pretentious, but that checkoff thing of like, you present the problem, not the solution, you know? And so many things today I see are trying to be the solution, or at least some, if we just did this would, you know, and that never really works. But someone going like, well, here's how I feel about a lot of things. I don't want to give anything away, but I was just really, truly, as like, the feeling I had, we got in the car and I told Allie, I go, I can't believe I'm friends with the guy who made that.
State the problem without manufacturing one's own solution. This gives the audience a raw look at something. It's not plagued with a motive, it just is. And that is the reason I believe Ari is a hypnotist. I am not joking when I use that term. He makes you watch as the absurdities of life are emplaced in his films, making you disturbed, horrified, maybe even laughing at awkward moments, but it compels you to watch. You are watching someone's undiluted vision, which is really refreshing to see. Alright, I got the face cam on, I got Letterboxd readied up, I'm ready for business now. I wanted to have this little segment in the video because I believe that each of his films do something very, very cool. Ari is one of my favorite working directors right now because each of his films brings something very different to the table. I don't go to the theater and know what to expect from him, and I love that. So let me bring up some different things that I liked about these 4 movies. Also, don't take these rankings too seriously. They are ranked purely on my enjoyment, which is very biased of course. I think all 4 of these films are fantastic, so no hate or nothing, please. Alright. So yeah, as I said earlier, I'm gonna just kind of talk about these 4 films, very brief, kind of just mentioning some of my favorite moments, but yeah, just trying to share my output and in real time, I guess, about how I felt about these pictures because I genuinely do really enjoy them. First, let's start with Eddington, going from 4 to 1 in terms of enjoyable, but I thought all of these movies were great, so yeah, I just really liked all of them, to be honest. Eddington, this is the first one of his projects I've seen in theaters, which was very exciting. Just being able to feel the mood of what watching a film of his feels like, but everybody was laughing at the jokes. It was just a really great time. Eddington has one of the strongest settings in one of his films, like bar none. I could literally imagine this world beyond the script, beyond what we're seeing on camera. It was fantastic. It nailed that loneliness that 2020 gave us all, COVID gave us, and Joaquin of course did great, Pedro did great. Everything was very intentional in this film, and I really appreciated how subtle everything was. There wasn't an ounce of spoon feeding. I feel like Ari never does that, but I really appreciate that this film doesn't do that because of course it's handling big topics. I'd recommend this to anyone. Very scary, but also very funny. This is probably one of the funniest of his films, and that kind of segues into Beau is Afraid, because I also found Beau is Afraid very funny. And this is a movie I literally watched right after Eddington, and it was like when I realized I was gonna make this video. So I watched Beau is Afraid. I was always scared about that 3-hour mark, because if it's bad, I'm sitting there for 3 hours, you know, and I was scared about that. But I feel stupid for that, because this film did not feel like 3 hours at all. Matter of fact, it felt shorter than most 2-hour films. This is by far, I think, his most creative film. There were some sequences, like especially the plays like backdrop. Oh my gosh, like so cool. I enjoyed every second of that. You could tell the story was very important to him. Very crazy ending, but very beautiful film. I love this, and this is probably one of the first 3-hour films that I will say I'll watch again, and I'll watch again. Because if you like films, if you like making films, if you like studying film, I think that is a great film to watch because it's very cool. Okay, Hereditary. I love Hereditary. I think that's like a masterpiece. Both of these, Hereditary and Midsummer, I'm gonna get into. I think both of them are masterpieces. But Hereditary, first feature film I seen of his. I think I don't know if my friend recommended it to me or I watched it first. Shout out Sairachi. I don't know, but anyways, awesome. This is, to me, I think the best acting film. Toni Collette, Alex Wolff, Millie Shapiro, and of course the father. Like, great ensemble cast. They all did magnificent, especially Toni Collette. She's so good, and Millie Shapiro being that young and delivering such a performance is very, very cool to me. A really cool film. This is when I realized Ari Aster was different, simply put, and I just knew he was one of them ones. Okay, on to, this is like my baby right here. I love this film so much. I think I watched it almost like 2 days after I watched Hereditary, because I was like, all right, I got to. This project, I know it's polarizing. I know some people said he went a little too far. It's too cryptic, it's too whatever, it's too gruesome, it's too weird. Yo. So this is the film that made me realize he's a hypnotist. Because it is crazy what he did with this project, what he made you feel. When I seen that the ending scene, you're just like, what did I just watch? Florence Pugh gives such a fantastic performance in this. She's genuinely one of my favorite actors. I do not say that lightly. She is great in this film. I think that's probably her best performance. It's a very, very heavy film. I feel like that could really mess you up if you're not in the right place, because it's unforgiving, and I think it's so dope in what it's trying to say, and it doesn't stutter at all. He's literally punching you like Mike Tyson. Like, he's like, nah, like, I'm getting this story across. Yeah, I guess that's kind of all I have to say on that one. Yeah, back to the video. I want to talk about a very underrated aspect of Ari Aster as a creative. Of course, I love his writing and storytelling, but man, he has such an eye for visuals. I'm always gripped to my seat just asking, how does he come up with some of these sequences in his films? The way the camera is moving, like man, this is awesome. He is so gifted on a technical aspect. His transitions from one place to another is amazing. Every time this occurs in one of his films, I just geek out because it's always eye candy. His films are so beautiful, and I had to address that. I watched Beau is Afraid a week ago, and it made me smile every time some cool set piece happened. The atmosphere he creates for all of his films are so well crafted. You can tell he takes his time just creating this setting. He is truly one of the industry's best working directors right now. Every facet of his creativity is taken to such a high degree. You can tell he loves what he does and strives to make his films as perfect as they can be. I watched Beau is Afraid in Eddington this past week, and it impressed the hell out of me. Especially Beau is Afraid. I love that film. I also wanted to mention that he is so much more than a shock value merchant. My fault. There's probably a better way to put together that sentence, but seriously, his films are so well crafted and everything he does is so intentional. From the plot down to the environment, the characters, and placement. I truly believe when it is all said and done that he will go down as a great in the film space. Everything I watch from him is always such an exhilarating ride. Yes, I get disturbed from his films, but I also laugh and I also cry. I wanted to make this video because I really love Ari Aster's work. I love the absurdity and surreal nature of his movies. He is a praised director by his peers, and it is for good reason. Look, when you got Martin Scorsese singing your praises, you know you're doing something right. I cannot wait to see what he creates next. Apparently, he's collaborating with Don Hertzfeldt for an animated film, and that might be the greatest thing I have ever heard. Please watch Don Hertzfeldt's It's Such a Beautiful Day, and trust me, you will understand this hype that I am feeling. But that's all I have for this episode. Also, thank you for the support on the 1 year anniversary special, it meant a lot. We're going into year 2 strong. This has been Duck Breaks. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one.